just where he was needed.
All right, I am back here at Arlington. This is going to be the second episode here, and we're going to check out some graves that are definitely on our list, as well as we're probably going to stumble upon a few more that will of names of people that we've heard of throughout history. So here we go.
The swallows will be here by dawn. And when we're finally sober, they'll be gone. The trees will bloom.
So the eternal flame actually was Jackie Kennedy's idea for her husband, President Kennedy. She first saw an eternal flame in France at their Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. I'm obviously not going to get into great deal about President Kennedy because I would be here all week, but his grave with the eternal flame is a major focal point here at Arlington.
And no nation which expects to be the leader of other nations can expect to stay behind in this race for space. Those who came before us made certain that this country rode the first waves of the Industrial Revolution, the first waves of modern invention, and the first wave of nuclear power. And this generation does not intend to founder in the backwash of the coming age of space. We mean to be a part of it. We mean to lead it.
In this area of Arlington, the grave of Robert Kennedy. Also another topic where I could be here all week talking about this man. On June 4th of '68, he won huge victories in the California and South Dakota primaries. Shortly after midnight the next day, and shortly following a speech he gave to his supporters at the Ambassador Hotel, he was cutting through the hotel kitchen when he was gunned down.
But your face remained the same.
Joseph Kennedy Jr. was the oldest of the Kennedy kids and also died in World War II. He was killed in essentially an operational accident during Operations Aphrodite and Operation Anvil in a modified B-24 Liberator over northern France. A follow-up episode on him may have to follow.
I can wait no longer. The sun will rise. I'll leave you
Robert McNamara was the Secretary of Defense for Presidents Kennedy and Johnson and was an early hawk on the Vietnam War and also was one of the earliest doves of the war. And if you watch Ken Burns' documentary series, The Vietnam War, McNamara started having significant doubts about the U.S.'s chances of winning in Vietnam as early as 65 to 66. I recently read his book in retrospect, and it is a must-read if you're into some heavier reading.
Mr. Secretary, do you regard this latest incident as perhaps even more serious than the Gulf of Tonkin episode?
I think it's quite clear that this was a test of the will, a clear challenge of the political purpose of both the U.S. and South Vietnamese governments. It was a test and a challenge, therefore, which we couldn't fail to respond to, which neither the South Vietnamese government nor the U.S. government could fail to respond to without misleading the North Vietnamese as to our intent and the strength of our purpose to carry out that intent. Yes.
This one was not that difficult to find. The grave of John Basilone, Medal of Honor winner, gunnery sergeant in the United States Marine Corps during World War II. Won his Medal of Honor at the Battle of Guadalcanal for essentially holding off an entire regiment, along with himself and 2 or 3 others. That was when he was in charge of 2 heavy machine gun units, squads, if you will. And then February 19th, 1945, he was killed at the first day of the invasion of Iwo Jima, where I believe he earned a posthumous Distinguished Service Cross. Though John Basilone was, he had the reputation that he was a Marine through and through. And I gotta be honest, his well-documented life suggests nothing but a Marine. However, though, after he won the Medal of Honor for the Battle of Guadalcanal, he was sent stateside to kind of bang the drum for the war bond and try to sell bonds. And they kind of really, the government really used him, or at least his face, to put on front of the war effort. And he had a hard time with that after a while, just because he was stateside and not really, you know, doing anything as far as combat related, but his buddies were still in the Pacific, still fighting the Japanese, and he ended up getting a training position out of Camp Pendleton, and then he shipped back out and headed for Iwo Jima. He would be awarded the Navy Cross on the first day of the invasion at Iwo Jima, the day he was killed, for leading one of his courageous actions. He was leading a tank through a minefield, which, when I say that out loud, it seems just as crazy as it probably is. But pretty cool. Happy to see his grave here at Arlington. And here is the grave of George C. Marshall. He was the Army Chief of Staff for Presidents Roosevelt and Truman. He also held the positions of Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense under President Truman. And Winston Churchill regarded him as the organizer of victory for the Allies during World War II. He was also the author of the Marshall Plan that would help Europe get back on its economic feet after being the setting and the backdrop of World War II. On just a interesting note, he expanded the U.S. Armed Forces 40-fold as World War II drew closer. So this guy really got the country prepared for what was coming down the road. And he was absolutely instrumental in the Allies' victory of World War II, as well as kind of putting Europe back together after all the destruction World War II caused on throughout Europe. Alright, so the rest of my time here at Arlington will have to be in a future episode of Running Down History, and I will see you all next week at the same time, same day, same channel.